on this one because I'm going to take you down a little path that's going to be a little bit of a stretch at times, but I think in the long run, you may understand what I'm trying to tell you. If you guys have been living under a rock or haven't been paying attention to any of the internet news sources, because this has not been on mainstream media, all of the protections that we see on the internet from net neutrality were shot down in the preliminary courts, and we'll be heading to the Supreme Courts. Basically, what this means for me and for you, your ISP, your service provider, will now be able to put regulations on bandwidth on sites, companies, people who either don't pay money or that they do not agree with. What does that mean? And why does that mean that your porn is probably going to go away? Well, let's think about this kind of in a convoluted way. If you look at someone like Comcast, Comcast is owned by NBC. NBC is owned by a greedy white man who's probably a Christian. Well, if this Christian man decides, I own Comcast and now I have the power to stop them from being able to allow people to use or go to those sites that I disapprove of because of my religion, well, that's going to be shitty for a lot of people. And I think that this is going to boil down to not just things like porn, because I think porn is a big enough industry that it will probably be able to weather this storm. And what I'm hoping is that enough people will get pissed off about net neutrality that we are going to make it so we never really actually have to worry about it. Companies have been trying and the government has been trying to get rid of these rules for a very long time. And if you look at the implications that could come from it, even deeper than just the porn site, let's say AOL invests in Steam. Well, Steam doesn't like EA. So they start to block all of those download speeds to your service to EA. So what are you forced to do? Well, if you can't download shit from EA, what are you going to do? You're going to go use Steam. It's a problem that may never occur. And it's a problem that you're thinking in your head is like, no way, they'll never do that. Well, what about things like truth.com or Republican-owned companies who own these Comcasts and CenturyLinks? What about when they decide that they don't want to give the bandwidth availability to their proponents, their competitors, as well as people who may just stand against them? What about things like Edward Snowden? What about somebody, or WikiLeaks? What about things like Pirate Bay? This is a way for them to control further and further something that has been completely open and completely free. The beauty of the internet is that it is completely wide open and you can go do whatever you want. And it's always been that way, and that's the way that it was developed and made. And now we're getting into the part where corporate greed and corporate structure is actually going to affect the way that we surf the internet. Basically, if they don't want you to use something, they're going to deny you the ability, and they will legally be able to do that. If they do not support or they do not agree with a website's function, it's pretty simple. They just don't allow you to go to that site. What this will end up doing is causing a bidding war, and really what this is spawning from, and why companies like Comcast is the leader of this suit. So if you want to be mad at someone, be mad at Comcast and boycott them. What this is stemming from is the fact that the cable TV service is dying. People just aren't watching it. They want to stream. What's going to happen to companies like Netflix or Hulu? Who's to decide who is the better product? Or we're going to leave this up to fucking Joe Schmo billionaire that owns NBC or that owns CenturyLink or whatever random rich white panel guy board decides what we get to view? It's a very, very serious problem that we are coming against. Now, I don't know what's going to end up happening when this, and again, it may be me just yelling the fucking sky is falling before anything actually happens. But the threat of it is there. And I implore all of you guys to do some research and go figure out what you can do in your community. If there's things that you can help with, if there's a petition you can sign, anything. With us, there is tons of opportunities for us to scare the government away from this. You know, they've been trying to pass, SOPA and all those restrictions. They want to take away this freedom because information provided to the people is not good for them. Once we know that these companies are making billions upon billions and billions of dollars, and once we know that they're controlling everything that we do on a daily basis, we get really pissed about it. And so now is the time, before they take away the one last free element that we have in everyday life. Guys, thanks for checking this out. Please click like, subscribe if you're new. Peace.